Kyle Tanner seemed like an ordinary delivery driver, and the young girl, Emily Rogers, was just shopping with her mother until one fateful afternoon at Walmart turned their lives into a terrifying nightmare that no one could have predicted. The quiet town of Riverbend had always felt safe, a place where neighbors knew each other's names and children played freely in the streets. That sense of security shattered on a bright, ordinary afternoon when a frantic call reached the local police department. A young girl had been seen being led away inside the Walmart by a man who appeared nervous, constantly glancing over his shoulder. Within minutes, officers were on high alert, and the store was swarming with law enforcement. Customers and employees stood frozen in disbelief, whispering about the terrifying scene that had just unfolded. Security cameras had captured the entire sequence, a man, ordinary in appearance, guiding a small child away from her mother, who screamed for help. Footage showed him moving calmly but with urgency, avoiding attention from the crowd. Witnesses described a surreal scene where a routine shopping trip had suddenly turned into a nightmare. Outside the store, police blocked exits, stopping vehicles and scanning every car for clues. Social media erupted almost immediately, with residents sharing the footage, tagging friends, and demanding answers. The town's sense of peace evaporated as the incident became headline news within hours. Authorities scrambled to trace the suspect's movements, piecing together the video footage and witness statements to determine where he might have gone. Each lead brought more questions than answers, as surveillance showed him disappearing into a busy street, blending with pedestrians. By evening, fear had spread through Riverbend like wildfire. Parents kept children close, while local businesses reassured customers that safety measures were being reinforced. The mayor held an emergency press briefing, urging calm and cooperation while vowing that the perpetrator would be caught swiftly. The town watched in tension, glued to every update, as law enforcement worked tirelessly through the night. Despite the massive response, the situation grew more unsettling with each passing hour. The man's identity was unknown, his motives a complete mystery. The girl's fate hung in the balance, and the community was gripped by anxiety, wondering how such a terrifying event could occur in their otherwise peaceful town. What seemed like a straightforward case of abduction soon revealed itself to be far more complex, hinting at hidden layers of planning and deception that no one could have anticipated. Riverbend's ordinary afternoon had transformed into a suspenseful, heart-pounding nightmare, one that would linger in the minds of its residents long after the sunset. Investigators worked tirelessly, combing through every detail of the case, expecting to uncover a trail of criminal behavior that might explain the shocking Walmart incident. The man seen in the footage was quickly identified as Kyle Tanner, a 32-year-old delivery driver with no criminal record. Friends, neighbors, and co-workers all described him as quiet, polite, and responsible, someone who would never raise suspicion. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community. How could a man with such an unremarkable background be at the center of a potential kidnapping? Authorities released clear images of Kyle to the public, hoping for leads, but tips were slow to arrive. Meanwhile, digital investigators and amateur sleuths on social media began scrutinizing his every movement. They traced his phone records, scoured his social media profiles, and pieced together his last known locations. It quickly became clear that the Walmart incident might not have been a spontaneous act. Forensic analysis revealed a small but significant clue. The young girl's backpack contained receipts from a store miles away, purchased earlier that week. This suggested that the event had been planned in advance, raising chilling questions about how deep the plot ran. As police delved further into Kyle's recent activities, they found no obvious signs of preparation or malintent. His bank accounts, phone history, and personal relationships all painted a picture of normalcy. Yet the evidence left by the girl's backpack hinted at careful orchestration. The tension in Riverbend mounted as news outlets reported on the discrepancy, and residents began to wonder if they had overlooked warning signs in their community. Authorities considered multiple possibilities. Kyle might have been manipulated into participating, or someone could have framed him entirely. Each theory seemed plausible, yet none fully explained the complexity of the situation. The town's collective anxiety grew, fueled by speculation and unanswered questions. Parents became hyper-vigilant, and the local schools implemented additional security measures. What began as an apparent random act of abduction was now revealing layers of intrigue and deception. Every new clue suggested that the Walmart incident was not just a singular event, but part of something far more calculated, a plot that had slipped past the notice of both the public and law enforcement. Riverbend, a town that prided itself on safety and familiarity, faced the uncomfortable realization that appearances could be deceiving, and danger could be closer than anyone had imagined. The investigation into the Walmart incident took a dark and unexpected turn as detectives pored over hours of security footage. While Kyle Tanner's movements had initially appeared suspicious, a closer analysis revealed a startling detail: he was not acting entirely alone. In several clips, a shadowy figure appeared briefly in the background, guiding Kyle or signaling him in ways that suggested coordination. The figure wore a mask, obscuring identity, and vanished before anyone could confront them. Detectives now faced a chilling possibility. This was not a random abduction, but part of a larger, more organized scheme. Analysts began reconstructing the timeline, tracing every step Kyle took from the moment he entered the store to the time he disappeared into the surrounding streets. Each new piece of evidence added to the complexity, rather than clarifying the situation. Digital forensics teams examined cell phone data, financial transactions, and public surveillance cameras, piecing together a puzzle that seemed deliberately designed to mislead authorities. Every lead hinted at manipulation. Someone had orchestrated the event with precision, knowing how to evade detection. Theories emerged that Kyle might have been coerced or unwittingly drawn into the plot, perhaps as a pawn in a game controlled by someone more calculating. As the investigation widened, detectives discovered that similar incidents had occurred in neighboring towns, all following an eerily similar pattern. A young child would appear in public spaces with a stranger, social media would erupt in panic, and the suspect would vanish before law enforcement could intervene. The realization sent a wave of fear through Riverbend. This was no longer an isolated event. It was part of a broader operation that preyed on ordinary people, exploiting trust and familiarity. Law enforcement now faced a race against time, trying to anticipate the next move of the unknown orchestrators. The community, meanwhile, struggled to reconcile the image of a friendly neighbor like Kyle with the terrifying reality of the incident. Every resident questioned their surroundings and the people they thought they knew. What initially seemed like a simple case of a suspicious man leading a child through a store had morphed into a tangled web of deception, coercion, and potentially criminal networks operating in the shadows. The suspense and uncertainty gripped Riverbend as authorities raced to uncover the truth, realizing that the danger lurking in plain sight was far greater than anyone had imagined. Breakthrough in the investigation came unexpectedly, turning the case in a direction no one had anticipated. A local shop owner reviewing security footage as part of a neighborhood watch initiative recognized the masked figure from the Walmart video. To everyone's shock, it was one of his own employees, a person trusted by the community and considered completely ordinary. Detectives quickly brought the employee in for questioning. Under intense scrutiny, the individual admitted involvement in the incident but refused to disclose the full network behind it. It soon became clear that the Walmart kidnapping was far from an isolated act. Investigators uncovered a sophisticated and organized operation that preyed on vulnerable individuals, coercing them into participating in staged abductions. The goal was to manipulate fear, extort money from families and local businesses, and avoid detection by law enforcement. Evidence revealed that each participant had been carefully chosen, often unaware of the larger scheme. Much like Kyle Tanner, he had been lured into the operation with subtle pressure and promises that masked the true nature of the plot. Forensic analysis and digital tracing revealed meticulously planned routes, purchase patterns, and timing that left no room for mistakes, demonstrating the perpetrator's high level of planning and expertise. The revelation stunned the community. People who had once walked past familiar faces without a second thought now realized that danger could be hidden behind the most ordinary appearances. Police continued to unravel the network, linking multiple similar incidents across several states, suggesting a pattern of criminal activity that extended far beyond Riverbend. The town struggled to process the betrayal, as even those closest to Kyle had been deceived. Authorities emphasized that while Kyle had been an unwitting participant, the masterminds behind the scheme had carefully orchestrated every detail to mislead investigators and the public. The community felt a mixture of relief and lingering unease. Relief that the girl was safe and that Kyle would eventually be cleared, and unease at the realization that ordinary, seemingly trustworthy individuals could be manipulated into committing acts that defied comprehension. Riverbend, once a symbol of safety and familiarity, now grappled with the unsettling truth that appearances could be deceiving, and that even familiar faces could hide dangerous intentions. The incident left a lasting impression on the town, shaping local attitudes toward trust, security, and awareness. Every new revelation deepened the sense of shock, reminding residents that sometimes the most horrifying threats come not from strangers, but from the people we think we know. The conclusion of the Walmart kidnapping case brought both relief and lingering unease to Riverbend. After weeks of painstaking investigation, law enforcement finally arrested the ringleaders behind the elaborate scheme, exposing a network that had manipulated ordinary individuals into committing staged abductions for profit and fear. The masterminds, experienced in deception and coercion, had carefully planned each incident to appear random, leaving investigators scrambling for answers. Tanner, once vilified as a kidnapper, was exonerated and reunited with his family. Though cleared legally, the emotional toll on him was immense. He had been thrust into a nightmare, his name tarnished in news reports and social media, and he faced the difficult task of reclaiming his life while coping with trauma. The young girl was returned safely to her family, and authorities praised the quick cooperation of the community and witnesses who had helped piece together the puzzle. The arrests revealed shocking details about the operation. Each participant had been carefully chosen, some coerced through manipulation, others tricked into believing they were helping in harmless ways. The masterminds exploited trust and familiarity, taking advantage of unsuspecting townspeople to execute their calculated crimes. Investigators uncovered financial trails, communications, and logistics that span multiple states, proving that Riverbend's incident was only one part of a much larger organized criminal network. As the story unfolded in court, the public learned of the meticulous planning and psychological manipulation involved, highlighting the sophistication of modern crime. Riverbend, a town that had once felt safe and predictable, faced a new reality. Residents realized that danger could exist in plain sight and that appearances could be deceiving. The case became a cautionary tale, prompting parents, schools, and local businesses to rethink safety protocols and awareness strategies. Social media and news outlets amplified the story, ensuring it remained in public consciousness and serving as a reminder of how quickly ordinary life can be disrupted. Even with justice served, a shadow lingered over the community. Questions about trust, vulnerability, and the hidden intentions of those around them remained unanswered. Riverbend had survived the terror of that afternoon, but the collective memory of fear, manipulation, and betrayal would remain for years to come. The Walmart kidnapping, initially seen as a shocking, isolated incident, became a symbol of the unexpected darkness that can hide behind familiar faces. While the case was closed in court, the story continued to haunt the town, a reminder that reality can be far stranger and far more frightening than fiction.